It's time now for the West Holmes Knights Football Weekly Preview Show, brought to you by Village Motors in Millersburg.
This night's Football Weekly Preview Show brought to you by Village Motors in Millersburg. I'm Matt Quayle alongside Jake Seidel from the West Holmes Fieldhouse, where West Holmes suffered a setback on Friday by the score of 56-28 to the Ashland Arrows in Knight Stadium. And in that game, Nathan Bernhard, the 6'6 junior quarterback, throwing for 4 touchdown passes and also ran for 3 scores. So certainly the Nathan Bernhard show on Friday, Jake, and really the Ashland Arrows offense just a little bit too good on Friday.
Well, that's what we've seen. And Coach Valentine, he wasted no time reinstalling what he wanted to see out of his team when he returned to Ashland. And you just look at that quarterback play. That is something that really everyone in the OCC has had an issue with this season. When you get great quarterback play, it's really hard to defend. And, of course, when he's throwing for 4 touchdowns or running for 3, you kind of your jack-of-all-trades quarterback, you have to have so many different defensive plans to get there. And West Holmes, they had some great moments in that game, but Ashland just came in ready to play.
They're undefeated for a reason, no question about that. For West Holmes, though, on the positive note, you mentioned some positives for them. Their offense got it going with Morgan Smith throwing for just under 400 yards in the game. He threw also 3 touchdown passes, connecting with receiver Logan Zollers, who had 10 catches for over 200 yards and 2 touchdown receptions. Good to see those guys establish that connection, also get the passing game going in the game despite the loss.
And that's exactly what you want to see. You want to see Morgan Smith find those open receivers, especially, we're going in the last 2 games of the season looking for that late run to make the playoffs. That's exactly what you need. You need the air raid offense to get going here late in the season, help West Holmes stay in these games against 2 opponents that are going to be very tough opponents.
West Holmes now 4-4 in the season. They're 3-2 in the OCC. And alongside West Holmes Knights in football coach Keaton Leflock coming off that loss on Friday to the Ashland Arrows. And from a game like that, Keaton, what can you take away from a game like that?
Yeah, there's some things that we did offensively, I think, that are encouraging for us. Starting off with 12 throwing the ball, the way he was able to make plays and kind of get in a rhythm and kind of getting in a groove. We really like how he played on Friday. And then to see the resurgence of Zollers, that's probably the biggest thing. Positive that we're going to take away is seeing him be able to, catch 10 balls and not only just catch them, but to make that one move and then off to the races. So you kind of got a glimpse of Zollers of the past. And then overall, I think, offensively, I think we did some good things. I mean, unfortunately for our offense, we played out of a hole all game. But those are the positives that you can kind of take from that game.
That's something you can kind of carry over, right? Things that can carry over to that next game.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we've talked to our offense. We obviously want to run the football, with Lynn and Brody back there and then with Morgan as well. But, to see our pass game finally kind of hit its stride is really a positive for our offense. And, we saw some really good things from our offense. We've been talking a lot about our defense, but, offense kind of stepped up and they were pretty successful on Friday.
You mentioned the defense. The defense really has been really good all season long. Ashland undefeated for a reason, right? Obviously a pretty good football team here. What do you have to do to kind of get back to that nice defense that you'd like to see?
Yeah, I think that's a quarterback that we haven't seen all year. That's a quarterback that we won't see all year. That's a quarterback we probably won't see in 2 years, and that's going to be a long time before we see a quarterback like that besides next year. He did a really good job of, walking up to the line, seeing where the pressure was coming and getting the ball out quick. Thought we did a decent adjustment in the second half, but then he was able to get his legs going. So, what we got to see from our defense is just kind of that edge, winning the line of scrimmage, that edge, and I think overall we got to play a little bit lower. I think we're a little bit too high across the board, but just get back to what we're doing, with the edge and winning the line of scrimmage, and I think we'll be fine on the defensive side.
Final conference game of the season. He's taking on the New Fellows team on your home field here for the Quakers. And what do you expect to see from this Quakers team?
Physicality. They're a very physical football team. They want to run the ball. They want to establish the run, whether it's with their running back, whether it's with their quarterback. Their quarterback's very similar to ours. He'll break out of the pocket. He'll scramble around. He'll make plays with his legs. He'll make plays with his arms. On the back end, we got to be pretty disciplined. But up front we got to control that line of scrimmage, and we got to slow down their run game and don't let them get into a groove on offense. We got to get those guys behind the line of scrimmage. We got to finish tackles. That's probably the biggest thing defensively is we get guys held up in the backfield and we just can't finish them. So finishing tackles, but really it's take away their run game and force them to be what they're not, and that's a pocket passing team.
As you look here to the final stretch of the regular season, yeah, you take a couple steps back as far as the conference standings are concerned, but still a lot to play for as far as closing out the regular season strong, and also playoffs looming ahead maybe in a few weeks.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we're obviously our mission was the OCC championship. That's not attainable. That's not a goal anymore. So, these last two games we can improve our standings in the playoffs. If we're able to win out, you got a chance at a home playoff game. But yeah, right now it's just increasing our standings for that second season, getting into that second season, and then with our region, we feel pretty good about it, and getting into that region and making a run. For this team, it's all about finding our groove. It's kind of hitting our strides on both sides of the ball, and once we do that, anything's possible, and we can make a nice little run.
Thanks for your time. Good luck on Friday.
Thank you.
Jake Settle here with West Holmes Morgan East. At Morgan, you've had a great season on the defensive side of the ball this year, up over 40 tackles. What can you just tell us about how the defense has been able to stand strong throughout the season?
Well, first and foremost, got to give all the praise to our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ. We're just very blessed to be in the positions that we're in, and we've had to have a little mindset switch from last year, because our defense was always on the back burner, and we just didn't focus on defense as much. But of course, with Keaton Lepwall coming in, as our head coach, he's a very defensive-centered guy, so he's been getting our defense fired up for this year.
And you've had to play against some very tough quarterbacks this year, including a guy with a couple D1 offers at Ashland. How does playing against a quarterback of that caliber late in the season help prepare you, or what's it show you want to improve on as you go into the last 2 weeks of the regular season?
It definitely shows us that we need to improve a lot on defending, I guess, both the pass and the run, honestly. I mean, he's very good. He's very, very talented. But it's definitely just playing against someone like him prepares you for the playoffs, because you never know who you're going to play. And in the playoffs, there's a lot of D1 kids.
You're also playing on the offensive line. We've seen the offensive line really make great strides throughout the season. What can you tell us about what you're doing with your fellow offensive linemen?
Got to give a shout-out to our coach, our offensive line coach, Coach Mack. He tells us that the standard is perfection, so everything that we do, we just try to be perfect in it, try to execute perfectly and have great form, and even if we make a good block, he's always telling us what we can do to improve, which is great.
You've got New Philly this week to round out the OCC before you play Holy Name in Week 10. The Quakers, they're not unbeatable. They've shown some flaws throughout the season. What have you guys been looking at to help hold the Quakers at bay?
Definitely just watching their film, just seeing what it is that they are struggling with and things that maybe they haven't defended a lot against, so they don't have a lot of practice in it, and just picking them apart the best we possibly can.
Well, Morgan, thanks for your time today, and good luck against New Philly.
Thank you very much.
Well, reminder, Truck Month has been extended at Village Motors throughout the rest of the month here in October. Of course, supplier pricing on all Ford F-150s that are in stock, and also in stock all new Ram trucks as well. Again, supplier pricing, not only the supplier pricing you're going to get, but also the rebates as well as the finance you're going to get along with that. Again, that's now through the end of the month. Don't waste any time. Stop by and take advantage of that at Village Motors on Worcester Road in Millersburg, or on the web, villagemotorsinc.com. West Holmes trying to snap that 2-game losing streak on their home field this Friday. It won't be easy, though, against the very good New Philadelphia team that's on a roll right now, as they've won their last 3 games going into this contest, including a win last week over Lexington by the score 29-13, giving the Minutemen their first conference loss of the year. You go back to last year's matchup in Woody Hayes Quaker Stadium, one of the more unusual games you ever see, where West Holmes won a low-scoring game 9-8 in that contest. Yes, good defense, but also the other end, let's face it, the officials really kind of taking control as West Holmes incurred 21 penalties in the game, over 160 yards in penalties, a myriad of false start penalties called throughout the game. Some talk about maybe some extracurriculars going on before the snap throughout that game. Whatever the case may be, West Holmes found themselves on the losing end going into that fourth quarter before Nate Fair got the game-winning 10-yard touchdown grab from Morgan Smith as time expired, and West Holmes got the improbable 1-point victory. West Holmes has won 2 straight over New Philadelphia. Their last loss to the Quakers back in the 2020 season, where the Quakers won that year 37-15. Alongside Jake once again, and Jake, you can taking a look at this game right here. Really an important game, final conference game of the year, and really a chance for West Holmes to try and close out the season strong. Gets a couple of good opponents here this week and next week.
Yeah, New Philadelphia, they've looked great all season, but they haven't looked unbeatable. In fact, they have suffered an uncharacteristic loss, I would say, for them, and while the Quakers going to come in prepared for this game, West Holmes is going to have to look to get that defense out there and win in all three phases of the game. We've heard Coach say it. He wants to see this Knights team play a complete four-quarter game, and I think if West Holmes can do that, they can come out on top.
Really, aside from last week, this Knights defense really has been very good throughout the year. I think also the positive last week, you got that offense going, that passing game going, and see if you can kind of carry that over here into week 9.
And that's what you need to do. You need to have Morgan Smith ready to go, and whether he's going to throw it down the field or maybe even tuck a few and just run them himself, trying to get those first downs. Morgan Smith is going to have to be on his game, and we've seen Morgan Smith on his game a number of times this year. I believe that he's going to come out here and have a fantastic game, and West Holmes is going to be put in a position to win a ball game.
Should be a good one on Friday from Knight Stadium. Don't miss it. Of course, we are going to be video live streaming that contest on the WKLM YouTube page, courtesy of the Claxon Communication team. We'll also be on FM 95.3 and WKLM-FM.com. Our hometown football Friday night pregame shows at 6 p.m. Kickoff is at 7 o'clock. For Jake Seidel, I'm Matt Coy. Special thanks also to head coach Keaton LeBlanc and Morgan Estep. And that's been this week's Knights Football Weekly Preview Show, brought to you by Village Motors in Millersburg.
You've been watching the West Holmes Knights Football Weekly Preview Show, brought to you by Village Motors in Millersburg.